What's up, everyone? It's Friday night, and you know what that means. This week in comic book news. This week, we're talking about DC Comics and their NFT plans. The Blue Beetle comic is going bilingual, and Gay Green Lantern is getting shut down. But first, how about a little Superman news? We got two stories to cover on this Superman front. The first being is something that a lot of people have already heard now that the Black Adam movie is out. Superman did have a cameo Easter egg. It's not even an Easter egg. It was a cameo at the end of the movie where he confronts The Rock's Black Adam. So that means Henry Cavill is back. This one from superherohype.com. Henry Cavill is excited to play an enormously joyful Superman. Yep, it does look like Henry Cavill is back in the blue and red tights. And from based off this picture right here, it looks like they are finally adding a little bit of color to that. Hopefully, Zack Snyder doesn't get in there and change it and dull it all up again. It looks like he's going to have a colorful suit. Even looks like he's going to have a little bit of a spit curl there. Let's get into this article here. Henry Cavill is excited to play an enormously joyful Superman. After Black Adam's opening weekend, Henry Cavill didn't waste much time before posting a video message for fans about his future as Superman. While Cavill only made a cameo appearance in Black Adam, Warner Brothers is putting together the first new Superman movie in years. Via The Hollywood Reporter, Cavill was interviewed by MTV's Josh Horowitz at the 92nd Street Y, and he couldn't be more enthusiastic about the Man of Steel's cinematic future. Cavill is quoted as saying, "There is such a bright future ahead for the character, and I'm so excited to tell a story with an enormously joyful Superman. Right now I can't share anything, but in time, I'll be able to share, and everyone will hear all the exciting things to come." I wasn't a fan of the Man of Steel movies, but that was mostly because of the direction they took with that movie. As I've said in the past, I don't think Superman should be a bleak, ho-hum, looking down character. Yes, he does have growing pains if he's figuring out how to be Superman in the beginning, but he should be a joyful character. He should be a character that people without powers aspire to, not because of his powers, but because of what he stands for. So I didn't really like the Man of Steel movie because I didn't think it really captured that essence of Superman. What I did like about the movie was Henry Cavill himself. I thought he did a good job. I thought he fit the bill as far as wearing those tights. And you know what? If he does play a little bit more optimistic, a more joyful Superman, hey, I say go for it. Sticking with the Superman news, out of giantfreakingrobot.com, Superman has returned to the American way. If you remember, about a year ago or so, the American way was kind of removed from Superman's motto, Truth, Justice, and the American Way, as his son was taking up the mantle of Superman, and he decided to make it Truth, Justice, and a Better Tomorrow. I get what they were going for. I get trying to be inclusive to, people of all around the world. But the American way, I felt, wasn't really a political thing. It wasn't, our way or the highway. It was an aspirational piece of Americana, if you will. It looked at the best parts of people who come to America, basically, the whole thing, the American dream, chasing the American dream. And it looked to that, and people who really dug down and tried to do and follow their dreams could achieve those dreams. Now, this doesn't mean this is going to be a Superman motto based in the comics, because this is happening in a animated DC film. But you know what? It is a first step, and who knows, maybe it will bring its way back into the comics. DC Comics has issued a course correction of sorts in a depiction of Superman a year after it changed Superman's motto from Truth, Justice, and the American Way to Truth, Justice, and a Better Tomorrow. A new DC animated film, Batman and Superman, Battle of the Super Sons, has reportedly restored the motto as it is uttered by Superman himself in a scene. The motto ignited a controversy among fans, who argued that the Superman mythos should adhere to a "if it ain't broke, don't fix it" rule, and should not be swayed by current political or social trends, according to a report by Bounding Into Comics. In the scene, in which Clark has revealed his true identity to his son Jonathan, he explains to him what it means to be a hero. "My job, my real job, is helping the world," he tells him as he flies through the clouds with John on his back, standing for truth, justice, and the American way wherever it takes me. So it really is an ideal of the American way isn't about being right or left, isn't about, all the negativity that some people want to heap on it. It's about what Superman's about, really, which is being aspirational, fighting and working towards your dreams, working towards a better tomorrow. You didn't have to say a better tomorrow because that's kind of what was implied when you say truth, justice, and the American way. A way for anyone from any walk of life could take their bags across the oceans, come to America, and you know what? Fight for that American dream, and land of opportunity is what they used to call it. And a lot of things have changed in recent years, but that is still an aspirational ideal that I think Superman should cling to. So it looks like DC Comics is trying to get into more NFT stuff. This is coming from AIPT. DC adds grading and rarity to NFT comics released weekly via DC Collectible Comics. This is a weird article. Not really because the NFT aspects, hey, and whether you like them or you don't like them, NFTs are kind of here to stay. There is the whole money grab thing about, making 10,000 images and changing little things about them and having the computer change it. I'm not into that. But non-fungible tokens are things that are going to be a part of, digital currency as it moves forward. And so you can do digital currency to buy digital products. NFTs are kind of working their way through the whole shebang of, like I said, the money grab of 1 million NFTs with one little change. And now we're trying to finally get into different forms of NFTs. And that's what it looks like DC Comics is getting into right here. The article says DC Comics has announced a new digital expansion of their NFT offerings called DC Collectibles Comics, or DC3. The new initiative will allow fans to buy NFT comics released weekly. These NFTs can also be purchased at different grades with rarity variants. Those NFTs can be sold and resold via the DCUniverse.com website. Number 1 will be the first DC collectible comic sold on the blockchain on October 27th for $9.99. Like I said, NFTs are here to stay. But the thing I really don't like about this is they're trying to add different grades and different rarity variants. It goes on to say, we want to take the physical and real world experience of collecting comics that so many of our readers have loved over the years and expand that into a new digital community. We want to build that community aspect that everyone has been so proud to be a part of in our digital ecosystem to make comic collecting more available and accessible than ever. I really don't like this idea. You have different grades of Superman number 1, where it looks like the lowest grade is the common one and it's all beat up like if it's an old comic, and the highest grade would be like a brand new pristine comic. To me, this does not work in digital form. To me, I don't really like the collector's market in general when you buy a comic just to collect it and hope it makes a lot of money in the future. Like, I understand people like those types of things and they are into those. And that's why number 1 sells so much. But I mean, comics are books and books are meant to be read. And so really this just screams of a different type of money grab for their NFT market. They're not making NFT comic books for people to read and then sell later and everyone gets a cut of that selling because that's how NFTs are going to work in the future. No, they're using this as another way of those 10,000 different images with one little slight change, and they're trying to cash in on the whole, oh look, is this a CGC graded 9.9 or is this just a 6.0 in digital format? It doesn't work. And but there are gonna be people who are going to get it, and I guess we'll just have to see how far it goes. Speaking of CGC though, news has broke over on ICV2. Grosvenor is first official submission center for CGC in Canada. I guess collectors in Canada had to send their stuff to CGC in America, or had to go to an American comic book convention to get their comic books and trading cards graded. But now they won't have to cross that border. They can get all their stuff graded in Canada. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of, grading stuff. I don't have any graded comics myself. I have been tempted to buy some that I really like, but I only wanted to buy them because I really like the cover, I really like the art or the writer. I didn't want to buy it because oh wow, it's going to be worth $1 million in the future. But like I said, I know there are other collectors out there, other comic book fans who do like to get their stuff graded. And so if you are in Canada, hey, this is going to be a big plus for you. The article goes on to say The third-party grading services CGC, CGC Trading Cards, and Certified Sports Guarantee (CSG) have appointed Grosvenor Distribution Inc. as their official submission center in Canada. This means Grosvenor will help Canadian customers submit their comics, trading cards, and sports cards to the three services for authentication, grading, and slabbing. Not a fan of slabbing, but you know what? People like it, I guess. Grosvenor is a game and trading card distributor located in Brampton, Ontario, where it has 50,000 square feet warehouse with a retail showroom. CGC is a third-party grading service for comics, and CGC Trading Cards is a new division of the company that just began accepting submissions in 2020. In 2021, they expanded these grading services to include more TCG lines. See CGC Trading Cards. So there you go. Are you a Canadian A? Well, now you got some places to submit your trading cards, your sports cards, and your comic books. Happy slabbing. All right, this next topic is not directly comic book related, but it did start in the comic books. The original Green Lantern, Alan Scott, was made gay. I guess he was from Earth 2 Green Lantern, and they were making a TV show on HBO Max featuring Alan Scott and Guy Gardner. Well, with David Zaslav taking over, that thing is getting the boot. David Zaslav strikes again as the series will get retooled to focus on Jon Stewart instead of Alan Scott and Guy Gardner. The article goes on to say the Green Lantern series is getting a complete overhaul. THR and Deadline report the Green Lantern series, which has been in development at HBO Max for 3 years and has its 8-episode script already completed, will not be moving forward. Instead of focusing on Guy Gardner and Alan Scott, the Green Lantern series will get overhauled to now focus on Jon Stewart, the first Black Green Lantern who debuted back in 1971 in the comics and who is a Marine Corps veteran. Stewart was previously off limits along with Hal Jordan as part of a Green Lantern movie at Jeff Johns' Mad Ghost production company. But now that Warner Brothers Discovery has taken over, that's apparently all out the door. THR also adds the new Jon Stewart series will cost significantly less than the preceding version, which was estimated to cost as high as $120 million and involve being set on Earth and in space, along with featuring Sinestro. Yeah, David Zaslav is all about cutting those money corners, making sure that budget gets down. What is he trying to do? Cut out $2 billion deficit or something like that. So, yeah. Just a little bit more information on the Guy Gardner, Alan Scott Green Lantern show that is now axed. That version, as the article goes on to say, was to come off as Guy Gardner being the white bad guy and Alan Scott as the gay guy, with Brie Jarda as a person of color who gets discriminated against. The official HBO Max description emphasizes Alan Scott as being gay, as seen below in this snippet from the press release that HBO Max released. That press release said, "From HBO Max, DC, Berlanti Productions, and Warner Brothers Television comes a bold adaptation of the iconic comic book franchise, a saga spanning decades and galaxies. Green Lantern will depict the adventures of a multitude of lanterns, including Guy Gardner, Jessica Cruz, Simon Baz, and Alan Scott. Earth's first Green Lantern, who, true to the comics, is a gay man, and many more. The series will also include fan favorites such as Sinestro and Kilowog, and will also introduce new heroes to the ranks of the Green Lantern Corps." Well, that's one show with identity politics cut to the curb. We'll just have to see what happens with the Jon Stewart show now. Finally, I've been trying to think of a segment I can end this week in comic book news with, and I think I've found one. Crowdfunding Corner. This week's Crowdfunding Corner will feature different crowdfunding campaigns that have either blown up, made the news, made headlines, or should have made the news and made headlines, if not for certain reasons. What we're covering this week in Crowdfunding Corner, Brian Pulido has a new comic book out, Hell Witch Forbidden #1. This thing has been out for 2 weeks. It only has 2 more weeks to go on Kickstarter, and it's less than $4,000 away of breaking 300,000. They have over 2,000 backers over on Kickstarter. Brian Pulido basically kills it every single time over on Kickstarter. He is making his name for himself as one of the premier, if not the premier, indie comic book creator out there, promoting, doing everything himself, making a killing out on crowdfunding campaigns. Next up, I wanted to feature Narwhal Shorts Compendium. He had just crossed over $29,000 and he has 2 days left on this campaign before it probably goes into in demand. Narwhal Shorts Compendium is a collection of shorts and one-shots from the eclectic artist known as Narwhal. I have already backed this one and I implore everyone else to back it too because Narwhal's storytelling is pretty spot on and his art is deceptively simple. But big congrats, closing in on $30,000. And finally, at the time of this recording, Aaron Lepresti's Wraith of God's second book, Blood Hunters, has crossed over $120,000. It closed a few days ago on October 23rd at $120,000. It is now up to $122,000. This is Aaron Lepresti's, I believe, third crowdfunding try. His first one was unsuccessful, but he broke out with the first Wraith of God, and now Wraith of God Blood Hunters, second book of that series, is doing amazing. Over $100,000, closing in on 1,800 backers, and it just recently closed and is now on in demand on Indiegogo. You can find the links to all of these crowdfunding campaigns in the description down below. That is going to do it for this week in comic book news. Please hit that like. Please hit the subscribe. Hit that bell for notifications so you get notified next week when the new episode of This Week in Comic Book News drops. That's going to do it for me this week. I will see you in the next video.